Tanse nitotemtek noagamagana kakisi moisqueo nitsigasin maga Natalie Pepin dishnikashun Winnipeg kostinia maga tawati now ni wikenekwa otpem shakisqueo nia ubien famichef nia. I am thrilled to be here out on the land. It's such an important connection that we have, and it's how we understand ourselves as Métis people, is in part through our connection to the land. It's this incredible relationship where we get to experience and learn and benefit from our mother, Nigawi askîhk. So Nigawi meaning mother, and askîhk means the land, so the earth. So our mother, the earth, is one of those most foundational relationships that we have. And so it makes me think, what makes a relationship good? How do I have a good relationship with the plants, the animals, with Nigawi askîhk, with all of the people around me, all of those spirits? If I just walk up and start taking something that belongs to somebody, those berries, those are theirs. They don't know who I am. I've never introduced myself. I've never told them how beautiful I think they are. I haven't brought them a gift. I've never sung them a song. But I just take all of their berries. Then that's bad relationship. And so we have an opportunity as humans, because we have this understanding of relationship, we have an opportunity in every season, in every moon, to go out and be in good relationship by doing those things. One of the things that is exciting to me right now is the temperature is changing and the leaves are just starting to change on some of the plants, and it's telling me winter's coming and it's time to get ready, it's time to harvest. And so when those changes happen, it reminds me about this continual cycle of relationship that we have on the land. It reminds me that every single season, every moon cycle, we have different responsibilities and different opportunities on the land. So right now, we are in the middle of, or at the beginning of, that flying up moon. And what does that mean? It's a moon full of activity, and it relates to those geese and those ducks, those flying animals. And so in this moon, those birds, they've sat on their nests, they've gone through their molting period, they've mated, and now those young ones, they are ready to start flying up. So those moons, they teach us a lot. And it's not just being in that season, it's how we talk about those different parts of the year. It holds those keys within our language to understand what that relationship is that we're in at that time. When it comes to our relationship with harvesting, it's important that we know what those stages are, that we actually understand enough about that plant, that we know when it's saying it's ready. One of the goals that I have for my children and when I'm out on the land is that we begin to notice, that we pay attention what's going on in those seasons, that we learn what happens at what times. And if I know what the signs are that I'm watching for on the land, I'll always harvest at the right time, because it doesn't matter what day on the calendar it says. We have these pieces of paper with numbers on them that tell us when we should do things. But in reality, we have to pay attention. And we pay attention and we know when the right time is because we've had a relationship over many years with that plant. We also have seasons in those plants' lives where we harvest bark and roots. I harvest a lot of birch bark because I make baskets. And so I have this piece of birch bark here that I've harvested, and it's nice and thick. It's really sturdy. It's going to make a great basket. In those early seasons in the springtime when there's a lot of water moving up and down those tree trunks, it's a really great time to go and harvest. But we pay attention to when those plants have shed those leaves. They're drawing all their energy back down into their roots and bark. And so if I go in November and December, I'm going to get a whole bunch of inner bark. And so not only am I going to harm the tree, I'm going to have a really hard time working with that bark. I'm going to have to pick all of that inner bark off before I could even make a basket. And it actually leaves kind of splotches on the bark. So when I think about our relationships with Nigawi-askîhk, with all those plant relatives on the land, with all those animals, I understand that there's layers to these relationships. It ventures from survival, food, material, clothing. It goes into our creative expression through our arts and gathering those materials. It extends into spiritual teachings about how we exist in the world, how we live and be in relationship with each other. But there's also aspects of these plants that are very sacred to us, that they carry sacred teachings. As I work with the birch bark and start to make a basket, one of the things I'm watching for is to understand a little bit about how it wants to move. And I work with it and I roll it and I bend it to make sure that I'm creating the basket that it wants to be. So I have to be paying attention, I have to be observant and never forcing too much about this relationship that I have with this bark and what I think it should be versus what it wants to be. And if I try to force the relationship I want on this bark, what's going to happen is I'm going to crack it. And so I have to be patient and careful and pay attention because it's speaking and I need to learn its language. So that's one of those things that we do when we're working with those spirits, those plants and those animals, is pay attention and learn their language. And then as we learn that language, we can understand more about what's going on in our own world and how we relate to those things also.